Yeah, anyone can send Handy Street, Spam and Pepper. I need a few more, so if you want to send a Handy Street, send it over. Here's my email. It's in the chat. Alright, so the person that sent me this wanted to remain anonymous. He's not in the chat today, but he said we can do it, and I'll put it on my YouTube for him later. But yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's a 3 rebuy 180 man. Do you have much
Good to go.
experience in 180 mans, Sandman?
Um, well, I don't directly. However, we have a lot of 180 man players in the stable, as well as several 180 man coaches, and I've coached a lot of 180 mans. So I feel pretty confident in 180s. So I'm excited. I like reviewing 180s. I like reviewing anything with a lot of spots.
Yeah, me too.
And I think in terms of what people's ranges are compared to what they should be with the annies is the biggest issue that I think people have. The annies really have changed the game in terms of like how wide you need to be opening, how wide you need to be defending, how wide you need to be three betting. All those things have increased by a lot, and a lot of guys are just kind of just plowing their way through and just playing the same way, and that's not nearly the most optimal way to play anymore.
Yeah, I'd agree. I play them sometimes, but I'm still learning myself because it's been a long time since I grinded
Oh,
them.
right. I feel you, man.
Alright, so we defend.
What was the race free? I missed it.
It was just 3x on the button.
3x, cool, no problem.
Hero has not double rebought, so he's just got a single 75 big blind stack. I mean, what do you think about rebuy strategies in
I was
this?
actually gonna talk about that.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
didn't. I just don't want to,
No,
take
it's all good,
everything
man.
over.
Just
But
whatever you want to talk about, go ahead.
um, when I first started the stable, my lead 180 coach and I were talking to the few. We started with more 180 players than anything else. I mean, when we first started, our first 15 guys, like 10 were 180 players. And so I got that question right off the bat. What is the optimal strategy for three rebuy 180s? Like what should you do, and should you double rebuy? Should you always add on? Blah 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 blah.
Mm,
The general consensus was always that you always double rebuy, and you double buy in, you always double rebuy, and you always add on. That's all I've ever heard previously.
yeah,
But I was never given any kind of information about why that's correct. It's just something that people just repeated over and over again, and good players were doing it, and that was
yeah,
just accepted. But after playing a lot of six max and learning how a lot of people, and even more learning when I was playing heads up, how a lot of people do things that are quote unquote standard that actually end up later, like a year later, people are like, how could anyone have ever done this? I actually asked Dunk who's a math guy, like this.
hmm
I'm not a math guy. I'm terrible at math. I actually asked him to math it out, and
You
figure
have a
out
little
what was.
slave, a math slave.
Well, I mean, he's the 180 coach, so if anybody would be interested in knowing, it would be him. But it's
Yeah,
just like me. He had always just heard that it was the accepted thing to do. Um, and I can't really go through the entire process because I couldn't even follow some of it. But basically, what happened is that we opened up a bunch of 180s, um, and we did initial calculations on how much your initial $3 and the one that you have to pay rake. So it's like $3 and whatever the rake is on it.
yeah,
So we did that, and we looked at how much value that has compared to the field and how much it will have in different increments of the tournament. So how much value does that add to your stack in terms of where your position is in the tournament as a whole? Um, and then we looked at how many people don't rebuy, like the guy that sends his hand history in,
yeah,
because a lot of people say, oh well, it's great for me to have a 3K stack because then I get more, blah 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 blah. But if a decent amount of the tournament is not doing that, well then you're still playing an effective 1500 stack
yeah, yeah.
against most players, and the guys that don't tend to rebuy or buy in twice at the beginning
They're the weaker
are
players.
recreational players.
Yeah,
And so like the guys that are all coming in for 3K, those are regs, and you're not going to get their stack on some stupidness anyway.
Yeah.
But even so, when we looked at like where you're at the break, like where the rebuy period ends, and you can add on or whatever, and we looked at each individual category at what is the most like what adds the most benefit. You always should buy in twice at the beginning.
Yeah.
Based on the position that it gives you in the tournament. Even with the negatives that I just mentioned, it's still the most plus EV move.
Mm.
However, the most optimal strategy is 2 buy-in, single rebuy, add-on. Because what we found is that the position you are in the tournament where it's time for you to rebuy, like at different parts of the tournament, the extra $3 and the extra 1,500 chips doesn't help your stack out enough.
Yeah. No, that's true, man. There's so many variables as well. Like,
right.
if you're on a, it depends on your table as well. Let's say you're on a table with 8 regs, like, you still want to double rebuy, but when the blinds go up and you're still on that table and you have, let's say a single rebuy is 10 big blinds or a double rebuy is 20, like, and your edge on that table against a bunch of regs, like, I think you might as well try and rebuy once and double up through that 10 big blinds than,
right, because you want
risk
to
the full 20.
Right, you want to limit how many times you're in for as long as it doesn't give you a negative effect. And you gain a slight effect from adding, but the gain is not worth the $3. The only thing that is for absolute certain is you should always add on. That was the one unequivocal thing because of the price you get.
Yeah,
even if you've already got like a 30K stack, you should always add on because you're just getting the best price possible. But the most optimal strat line is buy in twice, single rebuy, add on. And if you bust after you single rebuy, just keep single rebuying. The other debate was, and I've heard this from some other guys, why would I rebuy at all? If I bust, I can just reload another one if it's about to go off, and then I get to start with a deep stack again. The difference is that when you rebuy, you don't pay the rake. So it's not worth it for you. And also, your stack has gained some EV in the sense that some people will have bought in and busted out and never rebuyed.
Exactly.
So if you make it to 140 players left, your stack still has more value.
Yeah, that's huge.
And when you rebuy, you don't pay the rake. When you don't pay the rake, that is the most crucial thing. That's why it's always better to rebuy than it is to just open up a new tournament.
Yeah, like if you're gonna play rebuys, you can't just you have to make it to the add-on. You have to, because there's value in the add-on, and also for all the people that don't rebuy and they leave the tournament, their equity directly transfers into your chip stack that you can buy in for one buy-in. So, like,
here's the sick thing. Here's the sick thing. On average, at the rebuy period, there was an average of 40 to 60 players gone.
Yeah, it's just insane. It's like
that's so
25%
sick.
of the
that's
field.
That's so sick. Yeah. Right. And that's why it's worth it if you just rebuy that one time. Even if you double rebuy it, but you also get the add-on, that value is not as optimal as the single rebuy, and you get the add-on. The single rebuy plus the add-on still puts you in a decent enough position compared to the rest of the field with 40 to 60 players already out.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
Anyway.
I mean, I agree with that 100%. That's what I've been doing. It makes sense, you know?
Right. But, I mean, most regs just double buy in and double rebuy and never even think about it. But it's actually best to single rebuy.
Yeah. Alright, so we check-folded the king-queen on the paired board. I think that's fairly standard, without reads. And in this one, we raised 10 small blind, 3x. Pretty bad board against a random player. Yeah, I'd probably just check-fold. What would you do here?
I would probably check call.
Check call? Jeez.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, he's gonna. I feel like he's still gonna make a stab at it a decent amount of times, but when we defend, I feel like he doesn't really continue the bluff.
Okay.
If you think about what my check range is here, I check
queen and king, right?
I check a decent amount of kings.
Yeah.
I see bet obviously ace king, king queen, king jack, maybe king 10, but king 9 I check back all the way down to king 2. I check almost every queen back. I'll see bet maybe ace queen, maybe king queen. King queen doesn't mean we got two pair, but like in terms of like the best, you should be c betting your best pairs, whether it be
Yeah.
top pair or second pair. So I feel like my check back range is strong enough that I can check peel here because I will have some straight air. Like if I have like 9-6, I'm not really.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
probably not. I'm probably just gonna check give up. But I don't feel like most players at this level are gonna go when I check call here are gonna go bet bet bet.
Okay. Fair
Um,
enough. I mean, so
and there's
you're.
and there's some not terrible turn cards for me too. A jack is
Yeah. Yeah.
good.
True. I mean, anything
An
under a
ace is
queen
not
is
terrible.
technically good for you.
Right, but a jack is good as well, and so is an ace. Because if he is on like a queen X, he's gonna slow down a lot. Probably even
Mm.
king X will slow down.
Mm.
And as long as he's slowing down, that makes the value of my call better because I'll get to show down more often.
Yeah, but
Um,
the problem with that, with the ace, is that when he does slow down, he has a king or a queen. Because if he doesn't, if he has air, he's gonna barrel the ace. So the ace, I don't
uh,
think is a good card.
I don't know if a guy is gonna barrel an ace into me when I raised pre. I guess it's possible.
When
I
you
just
check
feel like
call
I have a
though, like,
little bit too much equity at this point. I feel like if I'm just gonna check fold, I would rather c bet.
fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, you have a very balanced strategy here. I don't. My
Right.
strategy here is really unbalanced because, like, I don't know, this
I agree
guy.
it smashes his range. I'll
Yeah,
say that. I for sure agree it smashes his range. But without some kind of read on that he's, really being nitty defending, and so that means that his range is wider here. I mean, blind
yeah,
versus blind, I give people if I open from the button or the cutoff and he defended, I give him a little bit more credit. Guys don't really like to fold blind versus blind, so I feel like I mean, he's still got plenty of hands here that I'm okay with. I mean, he's got hands like Jack Nine. He's got hands like fives. Basically, I mean, a lot of pairs. And a lot of pairs are going to take a stab and then try to get the showdown. So if he has like eights here or sixes, I feel like he always takes one stab and then just stops, and that's fine because I'm always afraid of folding the best hand to a bluff. Um, but it's really it's not a great spot to be in. But the biggest thing about learning these type of spots is learning to be uncomfortable,
yeah,
learning
yeah.
to be in uncomfortable spots, and then just making the right fold at the right time. And I really kind of like just catch calling. It's not even a guarantee that he's going to bet, obviously. But
Yeah, yeah.
if he does bet, again, it depends on the sizing too. If he just rips pot here,
You
probably
just
just fold.
fold. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, there's so
like,
many
but if,
things you can
but I
do
mean,
here.
he's
And like,
giving me odds if he if
yeah.
he if he bets less than that. So I don't like to fold.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Like, no option is really bad here, I don't think. Like, I think you check fold's fine, check call's fine. Like you said, you can argue for check call because his range is wide, and you bluff catch, and like bet fold is fine as well. I think against a random
Yeah, I
player
don't think
because
anything's really that bad here. It's
yeah,
it's a very
exactly.
close spot.
Like the only bad thing to do is like check raise or
Check
like
raise would be the most
donk
brutal thing
overbet
ever.
or something weird like that, you know?
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be that would be brutal.
yeah. So there, yeah. I think all those lines are fine. All right, let's move on.
I hate folding. I hate folding. I hate folding. Right in the chat. What's my
Yeah.
current main game? My current main game is 18 mans. Before I started the challenge, I'm actually doing a bankroll challenge as well. So right now, I was playing $1.50 18 mans for the bankroll challenge, and now we've moved up to $3.50 six max turbos. But normally I play 18 mans like 15s through 60s, and then before that I was a six max hyper player like our hero here.
Like me, this here on screen, he's a 180 man player. You mean me?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Our hero.
Yeah, the stream hero. Well, yeah, this is super nitty. Obviously, the guy's getting 7-1 with any two
Yeah, this
cards.
is a defend even if the button doesn't call.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if the button doesn't call versus a single raise, this is a defend.
Yeah.
Um, because you're still getting like 4.6 to 1, so you don't have to win the hand that often at all.
Yeah.
Um, did he wait, what happened with that king nine suited?
Someone raised, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought
Early
somebody
position
limped. I was
raise.
about to say if somebody limped, I would ISO.
Okay, yeah. Cool. That's I don't think I would ISO if someone limped. Um I mean, mainly because of stack size, right? He's got 30 big blinds because he didn't double rebuy. So like ISOing
But
if
no one's ever trapping here. So no one ever traps, and no one likes to fold. So if
yeah,
I'm
but
I'm sitting here in position with king nine suited, what kind of hands is he limp calling me with? He's limp calling me with a lot of ace x. He's limp calling me with like queen 10 suited, jack 10 suited, hands that I'm not really afraid of, and I'm in position. Um,
yeah, like I
and I
I
feel
see
like
what
he's
you're
going to
saying.
overfold to c bets.
You do
I
have
was
a
the biggest nit when it comes to this stuff. But when the antes are involved, you just have to get so aggressive. Like you really have to start ISO people. Like I'm pretty sure like people like quads ISO like queen eight suited here.
yeah.
Um, because being in position with all that money in the middle with a guy that's going to overfold the c bets is just a recipe for printing money.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Although, yeah,
Um,
you're not
I
like
like the
technically in
side.
position because you're in cutoff, but yeah, I think
Right,
you
right,
can.
but it's less like it's less likely that someone's gonna flat behind me.
Yeah, that's
But
cool.
even
That's
if he
fine.
limped, I would limp behind. Like if I wasn't gonna raise, I would be in the pot. I would
Oh
limp
yeah, I
behind.
wouldn't be folding. Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
prefer probably
folding
limp
is.
behind than
Yeah.
ISO, but that's just yeah, cool. Whatever. I mean, King 9, you do have to be worried about like King 10, King Jack, King Queen, which I think people definitely do limp.
Sure, but I've
So
got position and I can pot control, and I'm not stacking off to a ton of aggression.
yeah,
Um, and I don't expect to see a ton of aggression with those type hands. I
yeah,
expect
that's
them
fair
to kind
enough.
of just like peel me, peel me, peel me, so I can
Yeah.
really can just control how much goes in.
That's something I need to do more, I think, is ISO a bit wider. I think that's one of my leaks. So this
Yeah,
hand,
I've just now started doing it. I've just now started doing it because I was told I was being a fish for not doing it. So, um, this
yeah,
has got to
this
be
hand, like
replaced.
I would play any two cards here against a random player, because
Yeah, for sure.
I love my small blind. So yeah, like my default play would be to just raise against a tight player because King 2 off plays like ass on flops, and if he's loose passive, I just limp stab. Um, and like I don't think I'd ever fold, even if the guy's super aggro, because it is King high. So like
If
you
you're
need to
super
have
aggro,
some
just expand
playable
your limping
range.
range.
Yeah,
Like just
exactly.
limp stat. Um, guys that are the most aggro dudes when you raise just turn into super nits when you just limp and stab. It's sick the amount of limp limp stabs that I get through versus guys that would normally just always do something if I raised.
Yeah, it's a good play.
Just don't fold.
Yeah, just don't fold. Please don't fold. So ace in
I
the
would
cutoff, like
raise
I'm
this one.
always raising because you have one blocker. Um,
I'm actually opening incredibly wide here, probably wider than anyone actually believes. I'm opening over 40% here. Some people would hate for me to mention this,
yeah, fair enough.
but here's what you have to think about. Um, if I'm opening here, the button needs to three bet me about 16, 17% if I was opening a standard range of like 30%. If I were opening 40%, he needs to three bet me close to 20%. The
Mm,
small blind needs to three bet me about 24%, and the big blind also needs to three bet me about 30%. None of those things happen.
yeah,
So
yeah,
what happens is that every person that folds instead of three, so if his three bet range is only 12% instead of 20, for every percent that they're missing is a percent wider that I can like not like 1 to 1, but is wider that I can open. So when you combine all three of them together, their three bet range are way too low. Not only that, when I raise here, the big blind needs to defend his big blind about 55 to 60% of the time
yeah.
based
That
on the
never
odds that he's
happens.
getting. And that also never happens. So not only is he not defending enough, he's not three betting enough. And
Yeah,
when you put all three of these guys not defending and not three betting enough together, it equals to huge opening ranges.
mm,
I mean, think about when we were playing Six Max, when you were raising at 15, 17 big blind stacks from the cutoff, how often someone three bet shoved on you.
yeah. That never happens in these
It
games.
It doesn't, and that really just equals that with all the extra money. I mean, in a six max, the blinds were 10%. These are 12 and a half, and
Yeah.
there's 9 in there, not 6. So there's so much in the middle. If you're not raising a super wide range, you're just leaving money on the table because people aren't doing anything about it.
And this is
Like
chip EV as
I'm
well. So like
right,
you,
exactly, and it's chip EV, so there's no ICM whatsoever, and it, in addition, I'm opening like 65, 70% from the button. I'm opening 7-2 suited here from the button
yeah, yeah,
because no one is literally doing anything about it, and that's why I probably shouldn't even be saying it right now. But
yeah. No, no,
you
it's
will
true.
just print big blinds per 100, opening 40% from the button, from the cutoff, 65% from the button, and just never folding blind versus
Yeah.
blind.
And like the reason
And it's
why that doesn't work in six max games is because you get a lot of regs who know how to adjust and will exploit that, and then
right. Six
you
max
can't
went
really do
through
it
that.
anymore. But in 180
Six max
mans,
that phase.
like you never ever see the same people that often at the tables, so you don't need to balance one.
Right.
Two, even if they can recognize what you're doing, they're probably not going to be good enough to know exactly how to
How much
adjust
to adjust?
anyway.
Exactly. Their
Because most of
adjustment will
them,
still be too short.
yeah, exactly, their adjustment will still be not good enough. So, like, yeah, I really agree with what you're saying, and
Like,
yeah,
if you
it's
think
good.
about Six Max, think about the evolution that Six Max went. If you were playing Six Max Hypers in 2011, 2012, it started with a very easy to see progression. In the beginning, everyone in 2011, when Six Max were Hypers were just coming on, everybody was nitty because
Yeah,
no one was used to playing with annies. So everyone was nitty. Then a few guys got together and realized, well, hey, there's so much in the middle, we can open wide. So between the 2012, early 2013 time frame, opening ranges skyrocketed. I mean, there was guys opening 50, 55% from the button,
yeah,
35, 40% from the cutoff. I remember I was playing like 38, 30.
yeah, yeah,
And I had a 55%. You know why? Because everyone realized that you could steal wide. But everybody made the same mistake, which is that if I'm stealing wide, other people are stealing wide on me. If other people are stealing wide on me, why am I not doing anything about it?
yeah.
So then a few people got together and said, well, hey, if everyone's stealing really wide, we can three bet really
Time to
wide.
three jam.
But
Yeah,
but nobody talked about defending or flatting. They just talked about three betting. So what
yeah,
happens is that three betting is not enough by itself. So for a period of like mid 2013, everyone opened really wide and three bet really wide, and
mm,
and so all the people would do would just open wide and call off.
yeah,
Um, but then some really solid players like BBZ and quads and stuff started
mm,
defending their big blind an absurd wide amount. I mean, they weren't folding. They were defending like 70% versus a button open in the big blind and like 50% versus a cutoff, and they were three betting wide. And so
yeah,
when that started to pick up, you've now reached the climax where nothing else can change except ranges have to come down.
yeah, yeah,
If you open a wide range when someone is defending and three betting and it's everyone on the table that's doing it, you will just get crushed.
yeah,
So now if you look at standard opening percents for six max hypers, that the average button open is like 35. And the average cutoff open is like 26 or
yeah.
25.
It's much more
Way
normalized
it
now.
dropped way down from where it was just a year and a half ago. And it's because we already went through this progression of figuring out where the adaptations are. But guys that are playing 18s, guys that are playing 45s and 180s, just got annies. So
Yeah,
they're still in the very first mode of the same way that everyone was in six max. They haven't figured out what the adjustment is, and until they do, you can just hit the raise button over and over again. And as long as you also defend,
yeah.
you're so far ahead of what everyone else is doing. It's unbelievable,
It's like we're back
and
in
it's really something
2013
that you
right
do.
now.
What's that?
We're back in 2013 right now, playing the
Right,
six
right.
max.
Like
Yeah, and
it's
then you've got like the button limp meta going nowadays in hypers, and the cutoff limp meta to counter the super loose aggro play.
dude. I don't know if I was doing this when you were playing. I think you had already quit by then. I made an entire limp only strategy from under the gun.
Makes sense.
Under the
Sounds
gun
good.
plus one at 25 big blinds. I had literally a limp jam, limp flat, limp fold strategy. And after I quit six max, there's now like five guys or six guys that are doing the same thing, playing 500s and 1Ks.
Yeah, it's
So
awesome.
you have to find new ways. When the games get to a certain point, you have to find new ways to find EV. But these games are not there yet. There's still so much money to be made by just opening a shit ton and flatting a lot in the big blind. If you do those things, you will print so much compared to the guys that have been playing 180 since like 2010.
Yeah, especially because you have position and like you can play probably better than most people post flop as
Right.
well. So a lot of
It
a
just
lot of
it's no
outcomes are going to
reason.
be good for you.
And three bet the shit out of everyone. That's another thing.
Well, the guys that know what they're doing anyway. Not the
I mean,
fish. The
it
fish is
doesn't
going to
take
rip it in with like
much.
ace five because he's tilted.
True, true. But I mean, even against some really weird call off ranges, you can still get wider than I think a lot of people think you can. But I mean, like you said, it all just depends on the
Yeah,
on
like this
the
one I think would be a
player.
pretty standard reshove with any ace on the button. The guy min raises button with 20 big blinds. We have like 22,
If
um,
he's a reg, I would. If he's a reg, he needs to be opening probably like. I mean, I think he
like
needs to be
40
opening
probably I'd say.
35, 40%. But I don't think most randoms are opening 40%. I don't think most regs are opening 40% here.
Yeah, and also
I
like
think
this hand isn't the best one to choose to have in your 3-bet jam range, obviously, because when you get called, you're
ace two
just
suited
fucked.
would be an insta rimp though.
Yeah, yeah.
Ace two suited would be every suited ace. But also if you think about like 9-8 suited, 9-10 suited, Jack 10 suited, Queen 10 suited, none of those are flats. You shouldn't be flatting in the small
No, no
blind
way.
20, 25, 30 big blinds, 20 big blinds. If it's ever even remotely a profitable shove, you shove, and that makes small blind the easiest thing to play when it comes to three bets
Yeah.
because you're not flatting, you're just shoving. What is this? Two,
So this hand's
400.
like min raise under the gun,
This has
flat
to get
from
in.
another big stack. The short stack rips it, and we have ace queen suited. I think this
He's
is
so
a
short. I think like I think you have to get this in.
it's
It's
close,
gross.
yeah. I think
It's
it's a shove
gross.
though.
Yeah, I like getting it. Let's see. In terms of defending, playing post flop, and putting opponents on uncomfortable positions. Yeah, I mean, being uncomfortable is just something you have to do. Big Eye Girl, do I have a blog or thread? I have the 2+2 challenge thread for my stream, and then I have my stream. But other than that, I don't really have anything. Um, but you really should not be folding blind versus blind almost ever. Uh, I was looking at the optimal defend ranges for six max, and you should be defending 65% versus a min raise from the
Yeah.
button, and that min raise from the button is only 35%, and you should be defending 65%, and that's with smaller antes and less of them. Here, people are on wider ranges. You have bigger antes, and it's chip EV. So
Yeah.
at minimum, you should be defending 75% versus a min raise from the button in these stack sizes. 75%. If you got 7-4 and you're folding, you're making a mistake.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. It's just pure math because you don't have to win the hand very often at all. I mean, if you only played the hand flatting out of the big blind like that, if you only played the hand when you hit a pair or a draw or like two pair or trips or whatever, if you only played the flop when you actually have something, you're still playing the flop like 35% of the time,
Mm.
and you're getting 4.5 to 1.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Sometimes you're going to be able to bluff, and sometimes the guy's going to shut down, and you're going to realize your equity. You don't have to play fancy. You just have to defend. You just have to flat.
So this is a pretty interesting hand. We got cut off open 20 big blinds, and we decided 3-bet bluff the button. I think this is like decent, but very player dependent. Obviously against the cutoff.
Here's my issue. My issue is that at this stack size, people flat three bets less and four bet more.
Hmm.
If you look at how often I was getting folds at T20 and T30, my three bet success at T20 T30 was like 30%. Just no one folds. But when you get to these bigger stack sizes, I feel like people don't flat as much and they three bet more or four bet more. If
Hmm.
they're gonna four bet more and not flat, I want blockers. I want shit here like ace five suited,
Yeah.
ace seven suited, ace two suited, whatever. I don't want things because if you look at Jack 10 and you look at the hands that he is calling, all the hands he defends here crush you, just mutilate you. King 10 suited, Queen Jack suited, Queen 10 suited, even hands like
Yeah.
King Queen suited, King Queen all flat here. How many hands actually flat here that you're happy about?
Not
maybe
much.
9-10 suited, maybe
Yeah, if
9-8
you're
suited,
lucky, that's it.
probably not. Um, so if I'm playing against a reg here, I'm using blockers for sure. If I'm playing against a random who's going to flat too much, I'm using better hands like King Jack suited, uh, King Queen off, because that way when they flat, they're actually flatting a range that I dominate, and
Makes
that's
sense.
better. Like Jack 10 is just blah, just fold.
Okay. So like I'd play this as well, like as a limb stab, readless. But if the guy's aggro, I would be fine with just folding because I think he can put a lot of pressure on us. But without having any reads, I'd go for limb stab. It's a really profitable
I
play.
think I think I would just raise because if we talk about how wide, it was like we were just talking about like how wide people need to defend in. I've yet to meet a 180 reg that defends me any two but blind versus blind, and he should.
Yeah.
I've yet to meet a 180 reg that three bets me 35% out of the big blind, and he should, in addition to flatting the other, 50. And if he's not doing those things, then a raise produces automatic profit.
Yeah, raise would be
Um,
better because it plays bad post flop as well. Yeah, makes
at
sense.
this stack size, if I was short as shit, like I had like 15 or less big blinds against regs, I would limp stab their face off. You know.
Wang Dang with
But
the
against
sub.
randoms, I always just open. They just fold too much.
Thanks, Wang Dang. My new sub alert. Hope you guys like that one.
Oh, I'm gonna email your guy, by the way.
Email
Or
my
it
guy.
wasn't your guy. No, I got it. It wasn't you. I was thinking it was. Uh, Aberone gave me a Twitch guy that basically makes
Oh, okay,
profiles and
cool, cool.
like so I can stop being so bad. Can we go back and see the stack sizes again?
That is 5.
5,300 and yeah. Okay. Cool. I mean, obviously it's open.
Yeah, I think it's
I
good.
don't think you can call anyone though.
No,
That's gross.
just gonna fold. Yeah, pretty unfortunate. Really good spot for the big blind though. He's
Oh
drooling.
yeah, yeah.
Is
Yeah, I
that
mean,
Annie
even in
Duke?
that spot, I turn a lot of flats that I got hands that I would normally flat. Like Queen Jack suited here, I would normally flat versus a single raise because it plays so well post flop. I would actually just turn it into a jam. There's just so much money in the middle, and I do perfectly fine when I get called. Just give it to me.
Alright, moving on. Ace 9, just gonna give that up.
Yep. Good raise here.
Yep.
Flat. They got leads.
Lead. Like he's so full of shit. You know he's
I'm
got like
very
King
tempted to
10
raise
here,
here.
like Ace
Very
4.
tempted. Yeah. I,
Um,
I'm making this to 2100 in his face all day. I just don't
yeah.
like. There's some boards I give people credit for a lead. This is not one of them. I'm not
No,
allowing
I
this.
agree. I mean, I would just call here with ace high and king highs, but this hand, like,
Right,
I
right.
kind of want him to fold now. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
agree with the raise here. I mean, I don't mind calling, but I do
As long
think
as they're not
raising is
folding,
going to
I think the
show.
raise is better. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if
Like,
you're
if
just
you
gonna hit
call,
jack
you
on the
have to
turn,
call any turn card as well, and then what they often do is they just bet small again, and then you're committed to just call, and then on river, when they bet small, you don't have as much fold equity, because he might have a pair now, or not believe you, because if you want to represent a big hand, I think now is the time you have to try and do that,
I agree
against a random player.
for sure.
Yeah, obviously when we hit the jack, you're like, don't care what happens.
You know he's full of shit, but you can't do much. No, you can do much. You can just raise his ass with almost any two. That's what you can do.
Yeah, yeah, you can, definitely. I'd prefer to, well, you're not going to have, like, junk here, that's the thing, because you're raising hijack, so it's not like you have a hand like, you know, I don't know, 7-3
Yeah.
off or 7-3 suited, like, you're going to have top
You're
40%
you're gonna
here.
have options on the turn and
Yeah,
river
so
as
you have
well.
overcards pretty much all the time, which is
Right.
fine. Alright, I like the hero's sizing on the river, third pot, think it's good.
Go back to that queen 10.
Yeah, I like the fold, but I don't know. You're pretty aggro in these spots, so I don't know. You'd
Well,
like
I'm
it.
looking at the stack sizes. Um, I think it's okay. I would open from what is this guy Rico or whatever Rico Zoe?
Yeah, Rico's
I would
there.
open if I was in his position for sure. Has to be an open from there.
Mm-hmm.
But
Stacks are a little
here's
weird. But yeah, you're the chip leader,
stacks
and
is a little weird, but again, it still requires people to three bet you absurdly large amounts that people don't do. Even hands that are auto three bets like Jack 10 suited in the small blind, people just flat.
Mm,
Which if they're just flatting and they're not three betting, that's not good enough.
yeah.
Um,
So
Wizard.
we do have options here with the ace eight.
I mean, 20 big blinds deep. I mean,
You
I'm
just
not trying
rip
to
it
get
in.
fancy here. I'm just ripping. Like I can rip. This is a spot where you can rip ace two. And
Well,
if I can
yeah,
rip
but
ace
I
two,
think
there's
ripping
no
ace
way I'm
eight,
not
it
ripping ace
is
eight.
you're never getting called by worse. So
Oh yeah,
I
he snaps you with king jack here a ton of times. If unless he's a reg. If he's not a reg, then I mean, if he's not a random, then it's different. But even against a random or
I
a
don't
reg
think a
rather,
random's
a
gonna
reg
call
is
here king
opening wide
jack for
enough to
20 big
make it
blinds.
profitable. Oh, fish do all kind of shit.
Yeah, maybe.
Fish will rip you with fish will snap you with king eight suited here.
Yeah, well, if you have that, then for sure. I've never seen too many guys do that. I think that if I get call here, I'm always just crushed with three outs. But yeah, of
But
course,
here's the
like
thing.
standard play is just a jam. But I'm just saying, like you can flat here because ace eight, still you get to play against a range that you crush equity wise, where you keep in all of his weaker aces that he's not raise
But
calling.
ace eight isn't a good post flop hand, and you're out of position.
Well, no, but
So like,
you have to be prepared to check call twice with air. That's the thing when you flat here with ace eight, which most people aren't.
right. And the thing is, like, I'm not saying that I don't flat stronger hands here. Like, king queen suited, queen jack suited are super plus EV shoves here, and I flat because I feel like they will make
They
more money
play better.
flat.
Yeah.
I cannot guarantee that I make more money with ace eight as a flat out of position than I can as a shove. I'm not saying I can. I'm not saying I can. I'm saying I don't know. And I know that
Yeah.
ace
You know that
X.
ace eight's really plus EV to just shove, so you take the
It's so
guaranteed
plus
EV
EV.
play.
It's so plus EV, and you could really, for a lot of players, you could really to a spew really quickly if
Yeah.
you're not 100% about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Hashbar. I appreciate that. Fish will do all kind of shit. Yeah, that's pretty much that's the story of my life, and I'm seeing it now in the $3 and $1.50 games.
Hope you can get out of those games soon. Got the
I can't
15s.
believe I got to 350s today. I started at 161 and made it all the way to 217 in a 2 hour $1.18 man session.
That's
So it's some
insane.
sick
Nice.
fire. No, I was winning every all in. It was absurd. Okay, so we made this. How much did we raise
Fives, we
this?
got min raise, like a bit over min raise. It's 16-16. You there?
I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was 300, 600, and I was like, what's going on here?
No, it's
Yeah.
800. So we've got 10 big blind shove, another 10 big blind, just flat. I think fives is a fold here. Plays pretty
Well,
terribly
five for
three-way.
sure. If I was trying to decide if I was going to call the first guy, I think you have to.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think you have to
Pretty
call the
gross.
first guy.
It's pretty
yeah.
gross though, because like, how often are you really ahead? But how often
Yeah.
are you really? Um,
Yeah, but he's got like 9.5 big blinds, and yeah, you do have a
but
pair.
the issue with having a 9.5 big blind shove is he should not expect fold equity.
Oh no, of course not.
And if he doesn't expect fold equity, then five starts looking a lot shittier, you know. Like,
I see.
but I think you have to call. Like, it's gross, and I would just be puking about it. But
There's always the random $3 rebuy fish factor, you know, that he could have fours.
right. No,
'cause
of
he's-
course. That's what I was talking about on the button earlier. That
Yeah.
random $3 rebuy. And of course we always call the small blind. Small blinds range should be definitely wider.
Yeah. Well, small blind, yeah, just calls with.
Well, the small blind's
Stack.
deeper though. Small blind's got 17K. I didn't see that.
Yeah, like
Ooh.
I mean, you have to fold. He would not be putting in 7,000 chips if this other guy, like, he would just.
No,
flat
I'm not
all
talking
the
about that.
way.
I'm talking about like if this guy had folded and the small blind just jammed on us.
Yeah, well, you fold
Uh,
for sure.
Yeah,
'cause
that would
it's
be.
20,000
I thought
chips.
he had I thought he had the same stack size. So yeah, that would be a fold.
All
I
right.
just saw him 7K and I thought he was all in.
So Queen 7 against under the gun min raise, getting 4 to
I'm
1.
not in this. I mean, I'm defending wide. Don't get me
Like-
wrong, but not Queen 7 wide. But I'm
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
I'm not folding 4-5 suited here. I'm not
Yeah, you
folding
need something bit more playable than Queen 7.
right. Something that I can maneuver with. Queen 7 is just blah. Queen 9's getting a flat though.
What's
even
up,
versus
Chopper? The other bloke is SandmanNess. Check out his Twitch. It's twitch.tv/SandmanNess. He's a Sit and go grind as well, pro player. Okay, junk.
Oh,
Uh, 9-8. I think we can give that one up. 5-3s. I don't think that's in the defend
5-3.
range.
It's not a defend from the cutoff, but I am defending probably from the button, believe it or not. Like again, I could make a very, very serious argument for defending any two from the button.
Yeah, no, I understand. If your plan is to just check jam all in with any pair, any draw, I think you can make it work. Is that your
Yeah,
plan?
yeah. I mean, what are we at? Eight? Is that 10K or 18K?
It's 12K big blind, right? So hero
We got
has,
10K
you know,
behind.
like 18K.
Oh, it's 18K. Okay, well then, I mean, yeah, I got some maneuverability, but a lot of the biggest question I get is when people see me flat a min raise with like 5 big blinds in the big blind or 6 big blinds, and they're like, "How can you flat with 6 big blinds in the big blind and then ever fold?" And I'm like,
It's a stop and go.
the price that you're getting, well, the price that you're getting doesn't change. You're
Mm.
still getting an absurd price pre. Only the difference is I would rather flat a min raise with 6 big blinds than I would with 30 big blinds. Because what happens is when I flat with 30 big blinds and I flop bottom pair and it goes bet, call, bet. What am I doing?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
folding. What happens when I get a gut shot and 2 overs and it goes bet, call, bet? I'm folding. When I get 6 big blinds and I flat a min raise and I flop anything, I mean straight draw, flush draw, pair, any pair, whatever, I just get it in. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I get to realize all of my equity because I'm going to be in or he's going to fold. And I don't get to realize all my equity on 30 big blinds. So it's actually a better situation for me. And there's no reason not to unless there's some kind of sick ICM factor going on.
Mm.
If you got, I guess if you got 3 big blinds or 4 big blinds, you can draw a line. But like 6, 7, 8, 9 big blinds, I'm still defending just as wide as I would if I had 50 big blinds.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I mean, I still think it depends on ranges because if you're up against really tight knits and they're opening, let's say,
Yeah, if the
like
guy's opening
15%,
15%,
then of course
but
you can't defend like 60 against those guys because
sure,
even when you hit bottom
sure. But
pair, they're gonna
I'm just saying
snap
I
you with ace
defend my
highs. So.
same ranges. If I'm defending 40% from the under the gun in the big blind with 30 big blinds, I'm defending 40% from under the gun with
With 5.
7 big blinds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd agree with you. It's better to defend with 5 because you can also take other lines which are plus EV. Like I said, the stop and go.
yeah. There's
And
so many things you can do. There's
yeah,
so
and
many.
you
It
have
can't ever be bad.
reverse implied with 30 big blinds as well if you defend that wide. But with 5 big
Right.
blinds, like you don't care because you're that short anyway. You're just gonna get it in.
You get to see all your equity, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
When you're getting 4.5 to 1 pre, and you get to see all of your equity, except when he folds, then it's amazing. Just no reason to fold. What do we got here?
So this is threes with 17K
I'm
big
actually
blinds.
impressed to see the shove.
You're impressed? Yeah, I mean
I'm impressed. I'm
it's
impressed. A lot of people
decent.
don't make the shove.
No, I
A
mean
lot of people make the shove.
I don't think I would as a default, but it would definitely depend on
Sure.
Quick
Right. If the
triple
guy's on
three again.
15%, you're not in good shape here.
Yeah.
But if
But
the
he
guy's on
this is a
30%,
spot where he
you're
can
great.
be raising pretty wide. You know, everyone behind him has
I,
a folding stack.
I agree.
So
That's why I'm like I would have to have stats on the guy to know for sure.
yeah.
But
So I'd say
I'm
like
just
20%
impressed.
PFR or more, I would rip it in,
Right.
but less than that, I
So,
just fold.
but I'm just impressed to see even people consider being too wide. I never see people be too wide. I always see people do tight, and I'm like, you need to raise more, you need to 3-bet more, you need to flat more. I never get to tell people, whoa, you need to back off a little bit, you know.
Mm.
So
Yeah, it's quite
I
rare.
like seeing that. Yeah,
So
that's
that
fine.
was the king 10, very standard. You know, in the
Right.
cutoff, nothing to talk. Everyone folds.
The,
5.
the cutoff is too big. That's the problem. I like it.
Yep. I mean, I think it's fine. He's got a lot of chips. Yep. Don't see why not.
Oh, there was something now I think you might find interesting that I discussed lately, and I'm not going to say who I discussed it with, but and he would probably be pretty upset if he was listening. But
Fair enough.
something that I have not discovered, but I was taught. Chip accumulation is a really big deal in the sense that it matters most in like an 18 man. If you're sitting with a pretty decent stack, and there's a few short stacks behind you, 5 big blinds, 6 big blinds, whatever, you can actually raise call really wide. I mean, like negative EV wide. This particular person, I sat there and watched them raise king 3 from the cutoff and snap a small blind, 6 big blind shove. For the simple fact that those chips in your stack, when you already have a healthy stack and you're not risking going out, you're just isolating someone else. Even if it's a negative EV call right then, those chips looking 8, 10, 12 rounds into the future when you're on the final table and now you have a 20% bigger stack than what you would have had, which will lead you to abuse more. Therefore, you get to the 5-handed with a bigger stack, which it all compounds if you're constantly
it's a
targeting
snowball effect. And in 18s as well, in 18s, because the 5-handed, 6-handed ICM is really severe for mid stacks.
Huge.
Like,
But
if you're the one on the
works
final table
even
with all the
180s.
chips, like, you're gonna destroy.
It doesn't work in 180s at like the 100, 200 blind level, but when you get to these stack sizes where the blinds are pretty big and you got a decent amount in the middle, when you win an extra 500 chips at 100, 200, that doesn't mean much.
Yeah,
But when you're
it's too
way
early.
through, 3/4 of the way through, when you start picking off short stacks, you're still not doing that much risk to yourself, and you're going to be able to use those chips to your advantage, or you should be. So I really like raise calling people like hitting those short stacks and making specific efforts to put them out with hands that I wouldn't even raise otherwise.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So this hand's really interesting. So we got a min raise from middle position from another guy with 44,000. We just defend the big blind with 7s, and Hero decides to check raise here. I guess he's like turning 7s into a bluff. I would never do this. I'd always just check call, check call, check call. I mean, I
Right.
assume you would do the same. This to me is just a mistake.
Yeah, this is
Because we have showdown value, like there's no reason to turn it into a bluff. If the guy has better, he's never folding. If he has worse, he is folding. So this is a pretty
Yeah.
A, B, C spot to not check raise because, you just... You already beat all of his bluffs anyway. You're not that scared of... Like, of course, he could suck
You
out
have
on
to
you
have the
and...
sickest read in history that this guy will just spaz do something dumb in
Yeah,
order
and for,
to validate
also
that
for
play.
40,000 chips, like, there's no
Right,
way you'd
right.
ever take this line. It's just... Yeah, the correct line here is check, call, check, evaluate. Like, if the guy's 3-barreling and the river, like, turn and river are bad cards, you can give up on river. But there's no way you're folding in turn. Even if the turn is like a king or an ace,
Absolutely.
or a queen or a 10, you have to
'Cause
call
most
2
people go to
barrels at
barrel those
least.
cards.
Yeah, so just, now what do you do?
And
you're
now,
fucked.
yeah, like what do you?
You just
What's the
check
plan
fold
now?
because you realize that you misclicked and you check fold. That's what you should be doing.
Oh God, what is going on here? It'd be sick if he got some absurd value from like Ace King or something.
That would be pretty sick, actually. Or yeah, if this
Oh.
guy's like calling down with 6s, that'd be absurd.
If this guy just breezed on the pot, you should fold.
Yeah, so that
No,
was
it's
not
just
very well
no.
played. Oh
I
well.
thought he had Ace King for a second when it first popped up, and I was like, oh, sicko. But no. Wait, is
Yeesh.
this a? Oh my lord!
So this
Like
is
I'm a wide jammer, and this is wide.
yeah.
This is way too wide.
I mean, you can min raise here. I'd be all down for min raise.
I'll tell you exactly the range I'm jamming here. Let's
Alright,
see.
get your
We've got
pens
36
and
in the
pencils
middle.
ready, guys.
So with 36 in the middle here, the blinds are effectively 12 and 24 when you make new big and small blinds out of the antes. Based on that, I would be shoving. I think you could actually get away with shoving this range. My standard range, if I had 2 solid regs behind me right here, would be X9 off, so every 9X off, like King 9, Queen 9, Jack 9 off, 10-8, King 2 suited, Queen 4 suited, Jack 5 suited, 10-6 suited, 9-6 suited, 8-5 suited, 5-4 suited, 6-4 suited. That would be my range if there was regs behind me. If there was randoms behind me, I'd be shoving King 5 off, X8 off, Jack 4 suited, 10-6 suited, 9-5 suited, 8-5 suited, 7-4 suited, 5-4 suited, and 5-3 suited. Let me tell you why. When I shove here with that second range that I gave you, the big blind needs to call me with King 5 off.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
Never. I won't even see King 9 here as a call. So there's no way anyone in their right mind ever calls me with king five off. The small blind needs to call me like king eight off, maybe even less. I mean, he's shorter. Like he's got five big blinds. He needs to call me sick wide here. He probably needs
Yeah,
to call
yeah.
me almost the same range. Never happens in a million years. Now, obviously, there's some hands that you can min raise for value here. Um, but most of the profitable shoves I'm going to get here at this stack size with this much in the middle, I'm going to take. If it's a shove, I'm taking it.
Yeah.
I will like when I'm looking at what I'm going to min raise here, I'm going to min raise outside that shove range. So the very first level of hands outside the hands that I just listed. So I'd be min raising like king four here. I'd be min raising, like X7 off, like 7-8, 7-6, good example. Jack four suited. Jack four suited, like I might even shove Jack 4 suited, Jack 3 suited, like hands that are right outside my shove range because they're just not valuable enough to shove, but they still have value as a min raise at this stack size. And I don't really mind calling off the small blind for the same reason that we just talked about.
Yeah, you have
I'm not
to.
the one at
Chip
risk.
accumulation.
Right. He's at risk. I'm not the one at risk. That's a big chip accumulation that I can use in the future, and he's still probably not doing enough about it.
Yeah. See,
I
like,
mean,
I
if
think
you
this is
think
where
that
you and I would differ, because I would never jam those, like, the bottom of my range here. I'd always just min raise and min raise more of the plus EV pushes, because I feel like when the big blind does wake up with a hand and I lose 20,000 chips, that's so much of my future EV that I'm just shoveling away for like a thin edge, or like even if the edge is okay, I think that I would be able to get more EV out of a min raise with those hands, than just shoveling it in for
he,
20,000 chips here against just a
here's
random
the
big
problem
blind.
though. Here's the problem though. What happens when big blind flats a lot?
I'm happy because I get to play post op in
You're
position.
not as happy as you would be if you just took the pot down.
Well,
Because
yeah, I
if
mean,
you
I
think
think that's
about how
debatable.
much think about I'm not talking about a thin difference here. If he's supposed to be calling king 5 and he's possibly folding king 9, that is a massive edge.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean,
Like that's
there's
a massive pull.
it's
Um,
it's really hard to calculate this because you can basically
it is. It,
never
it really is.
you can never
And
calculate
and I've
enough of
talked to
the
people that
variables for post flop play to determine whether you're going to get more EV out of that range. But like my
right,
argument is, let's say that he is flatting those hands that he would just fold, but his check fold to c bet is like he's not continuing without a pair, and which a lot of people will do. He's just going to check fold 66% of the time, two-thirds, and he's giving you an extra big blind pre-flop. So, like, that's a very low risk way, I think, of neutralizing that EV difference of him just folding pre-flop with those hands anyway. But, like, you and I can argue about it for an hour, and we'd never know
yeah,
what is right because it's impossible to know exactly how much value you can get without knowing, like, his
right.
exact defense range, his exact 3-bet pre-flop range, his exact
And,
flop check
and
call
and
range,
what
what
but
he
what
does
I
on
do
turns
know
rivers, so, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying because what I do know is that he's not calling wide enough. That's the one variable that I'm
Yeah, yeah,
most confident on, and that's why I take the shove.
yeah.
Because everything else starts to become a debate and starts to saying, well, if I'm raising, 7-6 here and he's defending X amount and he's three betting some, like versus just cleaning up the chips because I know that he's calling way too wide. Whereas I can't really quantify how much I'm winning or losing in the first scenario, but in the shove scenario, I know how much I'm winning because
Yeah, that's fair
I know
enough.
what I see when I get called, and I know what I don't ever see. Um,
Depends on the
but
player. If
right,
it's an
and also
aggressive
like
player, like all I need is one read. If he's aggressive, then I would use your line and
regs,
just rip.
regs, I don't even think about it. Regs, if it's a jam, it's a jam because a
Yeah,
reg is
exactly.
most likely to flat and three bet me when I
You're
don't
gonna get
want him to.
exploited. But if it's a
Right.
random passive guy or a tight guy, I would never rip for 20,000. I just never do it because it's not worth, in my opinion, the risk when the guy's gonna play the same range, calling it all in, like if he's
But the
tight,
difference
as he
is you're
will
not opening
a
king
min
three on the
raise.
button, and I am.
What do
So
you
I'm
mean? Of course I
collecting all the
would.
EV from the shoves, and I'm
So
collecting all the EV from making min raises that aren't already profitable shoves.
yeah, but I'm not saying like I would fold, like I'd play a tighter range and only shove better hands and then just fold the hands that are plus EV shoves. No, of course not. I just min raise everything. So I'd min raise like your entire range that you're shoving. I just min raise it.
I
So
mean,
like king three, jack three suited,
one
queen
thing
three
randoms
suited,
like to
whatever.
do
Just
is
min
flatten
raise.
the big blind though. Like
Like I said,
they
you
don't
just
three
c
bet
bet.
enough, but they do flat.
Yeah, but that, like I said, I think it's still plus EV, or
Right.
like you can debate it because c
Um,
bets are really profitable again. People don't.
Krista, Krista, do I stay 100% balanced versus regs when I shove here? No. I actually shove. I don't shove queens and ace king. But I don't have to because all you have to do to balance here is you just have to have a few value shoves. For example, I always will shove in that spot like nines and ace queen because nines and ace queen combined have enough value to counteract the fact that I'm not raising ace king or like I'm not shoving ace king, kings, queens. I don't have to shove my whole range. I just have enough to where they can still call the same range. If you go and you put that range in versus in like Hold'em resources and you say, okay, what can they call if I shove my whole range? Okay, and then you take out the hands that you want to raise for value, so aces, kings, queens, jacks, stuff like that. Their calling range will go up drastically. So then all you have to do is your goal is to bring that range back down to where it's the same as it was before you took any hands out at all. So I just start adding a few value hands back in until their calling range comes back down to exactly where it was, and that's a balanced range. That's how you balance a range. You want to have them to have the same calling range as if you had shoved your whole range, as if you shoved your new range with a few value hands, but you also min raise a few value hands.
Yeah.
And that's the line that I would take versus regs.
So there's a bunch of standard hands, and then there's this one, which is the first one, which is kind of interesting, where Hero has a decent stack, min raising the 6-10 suited in the hijack into two short stacks,
Yeah, I'm an aggro guy,
and a chip leader.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Wait, are we
I
on
don't
the
like
final
it.
table here?
No, this is the final table bubble. The final table of the 3 rebuy has like a lot more chips than this.
Oh, okay, this is a 3-barrel. That's right. All right, all right.
It must be like the final 2 tables, final 3 tables, something like that.
Simba asked why we just don't open 100% on the button in. We don't open 100% because they still flat. That's the problem. They still flat, and the small blind still gets in a decent amount of time. And we don't want to open 7-2 and then be forced to call off the small blind. That's a little bit too much accumulation, you know. Like that's a little bit taking it too far.
Yeah,
We can be wide. We just don't want to be 100%.
Yeah, so we get flattered in 2 spots and just rip it in with top pair with 1 pot size bet left against the.
We had a pot size bet on the flop when they both
Yeah,
flatted?
pot size bet left. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I guess I would just rip then.
Yeah, post flop's fine, but I would not raise that pre-flop.
I would not open 6-10 suited either. And I'm an opening guy, so.
Yeah.
8-10, yeah. That's
2 opens before us. Queen 4,
yeah.
no. 4-10, 3-6, 3-4, no. Under the gun.
Interesting. Oh!
You would
Wait,
fold.
what happened? What? Wait, what did this guy do? Go back. Did he just pile 9-8 suited here?
Yeah, with 10 big blinds. Oh no, it was 3 big blinds
Yeah, but I mean,
with 100k.
You got a 37k stack behind, and then a 37. Wow. Man, that guy's serious. Holy shit.
Came to play.
He came to win some chips. You want to talk about chip accumulation? He said screw that raising
My
shit.
favorite hand. I'm getting it
I'm
in.
just gonna shove over someone and just take their shit.
I don't love these hands in early position.
I don't think this is an open.
No, they just don't play well.
I think this is like ace-9.
Yeah, well,
maybe.
ace-5 suited's fine.
Oh, right. I open any suited ace here.
Yeah.
Open any suited ace, but ace-5 off is going in the muck.
I think this
Queen
one's
10 too early.
table. I think it's kind of table dependent though. If
I've got some small
players,
guys, I can ISO. If I got some small guys I can pull out, like if the small blind has like 6, 7 big blinds here, I'm for sure opening. And this is what I was talking about, opening hands to pick off small guys that I wouldn't even open normally.
So this looks like the final table. I can just.
Okay, all right. This is where shit gets interesting. I got Hold'em resources ready. I got Hold'em resources ready, and we're ready to check some shit here.
All right.
Interesting thing. I don't know if you saw this, but there was a guy that posted a thread in the MTT SNG forum like 6 months ago, and I didn't really notice it at the time, but he basically did a thread comparing the ICM effect across different sit and goes. And he basically compared them, like he took the single one and he showed you like 9-handed, 8-handed, 7-handed, how
Yeah.
much of an impact ICM has, and then listed all the different formats so you could compare. So the sick thing that I found out about, and I'm decently sure that even most 180 guys don't know this.
Mm.
The most ICM heavy spot in a 180 is 7-handed.
Okay. I didn't know that.
7-handed. It's not the final. It's not the final table bubble. It's not the in the money bubble. It's not 5-handed. It's
Four-handed. Yeah.
7-handed. But
Cool.
the sick thing is that it's very. It's only marginally more. It's actually the ICM remains almost the same all the way from 9-handed to 4-handed.
Yeah.
It doesn't increase like an 18-man. 18-man, as you go 7, 6, 5, it gets progressively
Bigger and
meaner.
bigger, yeah.
And the other crazy thing is that how many people grind 45s and 180s together and basically treat them like the same tournament,
There's a huge
just
difference
smaller?
in those games.
Oh my God! The
difference.
45 mans, the 8-handed and 45 man has the most ICM of any sit and go ever, of anyone of any format. It's worse than an 18-man 5-handed.
Wow, I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
That's
I didn't
interesting.
either. Like it was really sick to compare all these different spots. Another sick thing is that in an 18-man, 4-handed plays the exact same percentages as a 9-man bubble.
Yeah.
3-handed in an 18-man plays the exact same percentages as a 6-max
Six
bubble.
max bubble, yeah. Yeah, I knew
Right.
that.
So if you know 6-max and you know 9-mans, you only have to learn 5-handed in an 18-man. That's what's sick.
Yeah.
180 plays pretty flat, for pretty same amount of ICM all the way across the board from 9 to 3rd. But 7 is technically the highest spot.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Alright, cool. That's good to know. So you just like learn a few different spots in each format
Right.
and you'll be
then you-
good for
and
all
then
of
you-
them.
Yeah, and if you get a good grasp of if you just run a few hands in 180s from, you pick a random 7-handed, a random 5-handed, and a random
Yeah.
6-handed, you basically can figure out what the ICM is all the way from 9 to 3rd because it doesn't really change. It's the same. It has the same impact.
Yeah.
Simba says, do I literally think about all this stuff when you play? Crazily enough, I think about most of it when I'm playing, actually, yes.
It becomes
After you've looked
automatic,
it up
Simba,
enough,
after a
it
while.
comes quickly. It sounds like a lot, but yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so this guy's
You-
ripping in the ace-2 off on the final table against the cutoff open. This is very ambitious, I would say. I
jam
would
here?
not.
Did
No,
he
I would
jam?
not. He jams
No,
it, yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, no. Oh, no. No.
Um, yeah, like.
Oh, Johnny Kilo, he's a that's one of our horses.
Oh, this
Interesting.
guy, the
See if he
the
makes-
shift leader.
Yeah, I'll see
Oh,
if he
cool.
makes any big mistakes here.
Nope.
I did a review with him the same night I picked him up, and it went on for like 4 hours. And I think he came out of it like literally like 100% different player than he was when he came in. Because everything I've explained in this stream, I explained to him in detail
Yeah.
about the defending and the 3-betting, and it's all stuff. I mean, he's a very profitable 180 player. He was doing none of it. None of
So
it.
yeah, I'd been raised here with a 7-10. Although it does depend on the small blind, Johnny Kilo, and maybe he's not the best player to do it against because I'm
I
sure
don't
you've taught
think
him
that-
well, and you've
I
taught him
would-
how to 3-bet jam here. So
He will not let you get away with 3-betting
Yeah.
with min raising here. I mean, he can 3-bet. The sick thing is, I mean, again, we're 7-handed. He can 3-bet shove on you
any two.
like an
Almost
absurd
anything.
wide number, and you just have to fold. So you just have to be nits in these type spots.
Yeah.
King 7, I mean, that's pretty standard.
Yeah. I'll watch his play too now, so you can get a read on him. You
I
can
know,
go and
he's
tell
not
him
the
on
chip player
Skype.
anymore.
Johnny Kilo, I saw you do this in a review it's on Twitch. What are you doing, Johnny Kilo?
I will say it too. I will go find him and be like, bro, look, man, we got to have another talk.
Whoa,
I owe
what
him
was that?
Another
What was that
review here
one?
recently.
4s? Yeah,
Uh,
standard.
4, yeah, that's pretty standard.
2 big blinds. King 8.
Yeah.
Bad luck,
And
Johnny Kilo.
he just got 8 alive there.
Yeah,
on
he got
that.
destroyed.
Holy shit! It was all pretty good plays though. So where are we at? So we got 93. Who's the other big stack here? We got
This guy up here, Praxi has 110, 112.
Okay, so we're basically just in relax mode at
Mm.
this moment. Did I study poker? So I've studied a lot of poker. I mean, I studied a lot of poker, and it's not stuff that I really came up with. I feel like everyone thinks I'm just some sick genius because of all this shit I'm saying. All this stuff was shit that was taught to me. I didn't just come up with this. I made it a point to hang around and talk to and be a part of and associate with the best sit and go players in the world. And I paid for coaching, and I asked questions. Like, that's the reason why I know this stuff. The true sickos in the game are the guys that come up with all these things that I'm spewing out on their own. Those are the guys. Those are the real poker players. I'm just a vessel.
Yeah. So I like this open with Queen 8. Like I do think I might fold this if I'm not concentrating on the game, but I do like the open in
If
raising.
the big stack is letting you get away with this, this is
Yeah.
great. This really lets you start to contest for the chip lead. Contesting for the chip lead is something you should be doing all the time if you can get away with it. Because the
Mm.
second you take the chip lead, you can really just
You
really
can
start
you
going.
can raise a lot. You can raise like 75% from any position.
Um, I would actually shove here.
Oh, with the twos.
Wait, whoa! What happened? I thought we were on the final table.
Oh, so did I. Oh, I guess maybe not.
Oh, holy shit! Well, all right. Well, you can consider, but no, I would actually shove those twos,
Uh,
especially if it's a final table bubble. Um,
yeah. It's 20 big blinds effective against a
I
small
mean,
blind. I
yeah,
mean, if the
20
small blind's
shoving
a
a
super
pair,
nit, I wouldn't shove. I wouldn't shove if the small blind is at all tight, 'cause it's not worth it. You know, if a tight player is gonna jam 100k here, he's got a hand
but it's not just depending on the small blind; it's depending on what the big blind's doing as well. That's a lot of variables to open up with a terrible post
with
flop
a min
hand like two,
raise. Yeah, that's fair enough. Um,
and jamming any pair for 20 big blinds from the
yeah,
button can
yeah.
never be.
So yeah, you're right. It depends on the big blind as well. So I guess you need
Ooh,
both of them to be nits to min raise there.
yeah, this is just has to be a jam.
Yeah,
Guys,
that's
short.
so standard. Don't even.
That's
Hang
a
on,
big
the
shove.
cat's locked himself in the room like an idiot.
So how can I start learning this process? You just have to get the basic concepts, like get the idea of what you're looking for.
Keep
Um,
watching Twitch, bro. That's how you do it.
yeah, I mean, when I study sit and goes, I think about it in very four basic terms of things that I want to get better at. I want to get better at opening ranges. I want to get better at defending ranges in the big blind. I want to get better at three bet ranges, and I want to get better at all in pots, like making all in calls, like ICM. ICM is the big one. So
Yeah.
knowing what to call with ICM and stuff like that. So when you put all four of those things together, if you study one or the other, and you just take turns. Well, today I'm going to study my three bet ranges. Tomorrow I'm going to study my opening ranges and how wide can I open and be making money. Next day I'm going to do only ICM in the money type spots.
Yeah.
And you just focus on one thing and you just pound it into your brain and pound it in the brain. Eventually it just starts coming out naturally. That's all you have to do.
It's a really good foundation right there. Opening
Right, those
ranges,
four
defend
things. Those four
ranges,
things.
jamming, calling.
Post flop is the distant five.
Yeah.
Post flop
Post
is the
flops for
distant
like the
five.
real big sickos. That's when you can eke out like the extra 1 or 2%.
Right, exactly. But if your opening ranges are tight, your three bets are tight, your defenses are tight, and your ICM is solid, you are crushing the game, and that's no doubt.
Yeah. We open the suited ace and get jammed on. Pretty unlucky.
Yep.
We could just fold this with a bunch of like big stacks now. This guy's got 190k. This
Queen
guy's got
nine suited.
100.
That's good open.
Yeah. Queen 8 suited. Yeah.
Yeah, just learn it step by step. What's the stuff you deal the most with? Opening ranges. That's the very first step. So start with opening ranges. Then what's the next thing you have to worry about? Well, if I'm not the one opening, I'm the one getting opened on. So three bet ranges. Well, what's the next thing? Well, I'm in the big blind a lot. Well, how wide do I need to defend? Frickin' wide. Okay, problem solved. Move on to the next. And then ICM is, especially if you're playing 180s, like that's the last piece of the puzzle. ICM is the last piece of the puzzle for any sit and go, and it's the first three things you learn quickly. You get down quickly. ICM is what takes the work. ICM is what takes the 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, forever and ever to make sure your ICM can always get better.
So here's a pretty heavy ICM spot as we're talking about it.
Let's see this.
Five-handed, but like we're just in
37,
third place, but there's two guys shorter than us.
I flat.
Yeah, I would
I,
flat too.
I flat.
I'd much
It's a
prefer
profitable
flatting.
shove against the right guy. If
Yeah,
it's the
but you
wrong
don't know
guy, you're in
that.
trouble. Right. But flat can never ever be bad.
Yep, yep, that's true.
Um,
Like check
Peel,
call. Yeah.
Peel, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
you definitely check call here because it's
I
similar to that
understand
ham.
why. I understand why he's doing this.
Well, yeah,
I
there's a lot of
understand
money
why.
out there.
There's a lot of money out there, and there is a lot of ICM, and there are some hands that if he just folds now, we're not terribly upset about it. If he has like ace,
Well, there's a
king
couple. Yeah,
here,
there's not too many though. Like,
there's not too many. There's not too many. But I'm not saying I agree. I'm saying I understand. You know, when you panic and you're kind of in a spot,
yeah, the only
you
one you
know
want
that
him to
this is
fold
ICM
is ace
spot.
king. Even ace
Right.
queen, you want him in there because you know obviously the queen is good for you. So
Right.
it's like ace king is the only hand that you're trying to get
Yeah.
him to
It's
fold equity
and it's
from.
definitely just a
It's
flat.
just a
So
check call, yeah. What is this guy doing with the old fours? Oh well. Maybe Hero had some sick read that this guy was going to bet call with fours here, and this was a value shove. But normally this is not a value
if his
shove.
6 speed had it coming out on the turn and then him getting there on the river.
Yeah, yeah. Alright, that was pretty cool. Probably got time for a short game, guys. I'm only going to be on for another 20 minutes or so. Um,
Somebody send an 18 man.
hmm.
Or shit, do a small game. Do like a 6 max or a 9 man. I don't care what it is.
Yeah, we've got a 9-man from Wang Dang. We'll do that one. Everyone else, I'm sorry guys, but I don't have time to do another 180 man.